Hello, everybody! I'm Meso,
I'm Eljay.
and streaming to you from a golden beach, this is Knack and Jay. Hello, 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 hello.
Yes.
How's it
Hi.
going?
Phew. It is busy and exhausting, but what else is new?
That is true. It's almost like in the end, how's that one song go? It's almost as if nothing's changed at all.
Sure.
You know the one.
Sure.
The,
Okay. Yeah, I know the one.
the name eludes me. I think it was Pompeii. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yes. No, I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about now.
That's fair. But
Okay.
yeah, we'll give it a few minutes. See people filter in. I'm gonna throw up a reminder on good old Twitter. 'Cause it's been like a million years. I bet people are gonna be jump scared by this podcast.
Yeah.
What? These guys are alive? They're not totally dead?
Just mostly
Wow.
dead.
It has been. How long has it been since the last Knack and Jay, Elj?
Since the end of May, so it has been about 10 months?
Oh wow, that's straight up almost a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was the last live stream that we did on this channel was the last Knack and Jay we did.
Wow, that is actually crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much what we said was gonna happen. It's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing outside the realm of being a surprise, but we have been active on some stuff behind the scenes. We haven't just totally just quit existing.
Yeah. No.
You in particular have been exceptionally busy.
Oh my
these last few
goodness.
months.
Yeah, I have. So for anyone that didn't see, we did an April Fool's joke on the 1st, and it was we announced and made it seem like we were going to do a Bionicle RPG series, and it was really just a Trojan horse to announce that we are now officially doing a follow-up for Biocraft, the Bionicle Minecraft fan film we released in 2019. So we are now doing it. This is not an April Fool's joke. We are making a sequel. It is a 10-episode series called Biocraft: The Borak Update, and of course, it is going to cover the 2002 story. We have been soft producing it for about 7 years, and that's almost entirely been scripting. It is fully voice acted. All of the voice work is done. We have been filming it for most of this year. We are over halfway done in terms of filming the episodes, and we are going to be starting editing shortly. This is not one of those preemptive, oh, we're still really early in development kind of announcements that Bionicle projects usually fall victim to. This is a, hey, we know we are in a really good place with this production. We are ready to announce that this is going to be happening. We haven't announced the release date, but it is going to be summer of this year. So please look forward to that. Very exciting.
It's really cool, and like I mean, he's correct. I echo everything you just said. I'm not out to contradict you. To give a little light roasting, I did die laughing at the one comment on the announcement video, which was like, I just rewatched Bionicle fan projects, why they fail, and I'm scared by that. We've been working on this for 7 years,
Yeah.
and we're almost halfway finished recording.
Yeah, no, that was a misspeak on my part. I really should have clarified.
Factually speaking, you are correct. It's just like you said. It's the backstory was basically just like, you of course wanted to do more Biocraft, but like there was a kind of a cool down period after the first one. It was crazy. You didn't want to solely do a sequel by yourself, you know? So like Takuma stepped up and was like, I don't know if you handpicked him or he volunteered, but like,
Nah, he volunteered. So yeah, Takuma is the writer. Yeah, Takuma's the writer for Biocraft: The Borak Update, and he penned 9 of the 10 episodes, and then we collaborated on the last one.
Yeah.
It's not the last episode, but it's one of them. And
he did great work.
yeah,
Like, it's really funny, but like,
yeah.
he would be the first to admit he was very slow.
But I mean,
it
life
was many
happened,
years.
you know? Like a lot of life has happened to everyone in TTV. It's been almost a decade since Biocraft came out. And it is actually kind of remarkable that we have gotten to this point in spite of all of that. But it's really exciting.
True.
It's the most ambitious project we've ever worked on, just full stop. And we're really excited for people to see it. It is so good. So look forward to that.
It's been a lot of fun.
That's been the really big thing we've been working on. And I've got the Bionicle Heroes Let's Play series that's been running throughout the year.
Which is another one of the checklist of like things to like circle back around to one day. Bionicle Heroes Let's Play with Eljay was always like one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
We're reaching the end of that list.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All the ideas. The actually doing the RPG is like one of the only remaining things.
I know people were kind of upset. There were a handful of people that were bummed out that it was just an April Fool's prank. And I want to clarify, it is an actual idea and concept. The concept in that video is a legit thing, and we do want to look at doing it for real. It just wouldn't involve a whole lot of TTV people, but it's still a really fun and exciting idea that we do want to pursue because we think a lot of people would like it, and it's a lot of fun to be a part of. But it's just for that purpose, it was just an April Fool's joke. But we aren't just not going to look into it or consider it. It might actually be a thing eventually.
And we were this close to doing like an actual session for the joke. It was just we kind of were like, would a 3 to 4 hour long RPG session ending in like a bait and switch be funny, or should it be more truncated? And we were like, yeah, it should probably be shorter for the purpose of the bit. But like, I did a full character sheet over the course of like 2 weeks with Takuma like guiding me through the process. So I have that in reserve.
Yeah. So no, we will definitely we'll reapproach that. But for right now, we're focused on so many things at the moment.
Absolutely. And it has been fun. Like I will be honest, after the retirement of the TTV podcast and Nak and Jay kind of going on the bench, like I do miss podcasting. But, you know, and I do eventually want to do more podcasts, be they Bionicle or otherwise. But I also, I mean, there is merit as well, like with Biocraft, to just working on creative stuff behind the scenes, out of the public eye, and not dealing with like a lot of the Bionicle community, like hoopla that can be very hit or miss, let's say. So it's kind of been like an extended vacation in a sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. Real quick, want to do one more audio check. I've been like micro adjusting our levels, so let me know how it sounds, everyone, and if everything's all good, like we can start getting into things.
Thank you, Eljay.
Happy to help.
And like, as usual, Lightning BW4711 says, I don't want Nak and Jay to end, even if it takes 10 months between episodes. That's very kind of you, and I do appreciate that sentiment. I mean, look, Nak and Jay at this point is solely pretty much existing because of is there relevant Bionicle stuff to talk about? If ever there is relevant Bionicle stuff to talk about, we probably will do one. We haven't talked about this one iota, but like I'm down to do like a 10 years of 06 Nak and Jay at some point this year.
I so am.
That'd be fun.
We missed doing an updated 05 one last year, but I think that's fine because I mean, we don't have a whole lot to say about 05 at this rate, but we already did an 05 episode.
That's the thing, because we discussed it, and I was kind of annoyed because I do like the idea of doing one every anniversary, but I was just like, I don't have much else to say. Like, we already went into it, and then we went into it again with the one with Mary when like she went through all of Bionicle. So like it was very recent.
There's always stuff to do. We can always be doing stuff. It's just We got a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah. And yeah, Teleplastic, 10 years of '06. I think you mean 10 years of 2016.
Yeah.
That is true. I did misspeak.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nightmare. I feel so old.
Stop it.
Well, either way, thank you guys for coming out and showing up for this. It's fun to do this again. And we do have some pretty big news to talk about today. I guess we should go ahead and hop into that.
Yes.
Because similarly to a few episodes ago, it was like episode 34 when we talked about the GWP. We have some similar news today in terms of a crazy thing we never thought we would see. By the way, the GWP was over 3 years ago. let that sink in. Anyway,
what does a sink want?
Today we're going to be talking about the recently revealed Collectible Minifigure Series 29 and the first official, proper, traditional Bionicle minifigure. And I have to put that many caveats on it because one of the things that always annoys me when this subject is like talked about is people are like, well, there have been so many Bionicle minifigures. Just look at the playsets. And I'm like, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. Let's not beat around the bush here. Like, sure, those counted, but like they're not the same. They don't count in the same way, and like the general Lego populace and fandom did not consider them the same.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, we're talking about like a proper, official, traditional template kind of a design. And yeah, we've got our first ever Bionicle minifigure, Kopaka, because he's a beloved character, and Lego, of course, chose to make him the face of this collectible minifigure series because he's so cool. He was on the first comic, you know. He was like,
yeah.
oh,
it is a little bit
wait,
weird though that they decided to give him a T-Rex head in this. So that's different. But yeah, no, Kopaka's here.
Bold choice. I love it. Lee was here. He's like a garbage person, but
wait,
I think
what?
that's appropriate. Yeah, he's green, a green garbage man.
Hang on. Wait a second. I'm looking. Oh, the swamp monster.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I had switched to the packaging, which does not show the swamp monster. Yeah, no, absolutely. And then Gali's here.
The marine biologist. And then we're like, who's the person with the chef's hat? That's obviously Pohatu.
Oh yeah.
He's wearing like a brown apron. Who's left? Onua? No Onua to see.
What are you talking about? They gave Onua a gold sword and a shuriken.
Well, there you go.
And blonde hair.
So yeah. Obviously, I'm just being stupid. Like it's just Tahu because it always is. Like, you know, why even bother wanting anything else at this point? I think Bionicle as a whole was like a worldwide hallucination, and I think we conjured up these other characters. It was like a collective fever dream. I don't actually think they ever existed. I think it was just a million variants of Tahu. There was like green Tahu, it was like blue Tahu, white Tahu, big Tahu, small Tahu. There was even like in 01, there was like a scorpion Tahu.
Yeah.
And there was like a purple and blue Tahu. They call him the Tahu Jaga. Like, in fact, I want to do this now. I want to remake every single 01 set with Hows. Let's do it. It's epic.
It's certainly more possible than it isn't. Scarily enough, especially in the modern era with custom masks.
Dude, I feel really bad because like I can never just sit down. I'm like so bad with focusing. I really have to fix that. But like things have been busy this last year for me too. I've like completely forgotten about that video I really wanted to do. You know, the Bionicle has a red one problem, but like with every month I delay it, it becomes more relevant. So like,
yeah, honestly, you would have released it. You would have released it, and then this would have immediately come out, and your video would have been outdated like that.
I gotta rescript it, but like at the same time, like here's all I gotta say on that for now. Like I do care, and I do actually think it's a problem. I think it's a shame. Like it's not like, how should I put it? I get it. I get why. I get why it is a thing. I just think it's a shame. but like a moment like this isn't a time I'm super upset about it. Like, nice, Sir John, funny meme in the patron chat. But like, I'm half joking. Like, in this moment for the first Bionicle minifigure ever, yeah, it should probably be Tahu. Like, I get why. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It makes
no,
sense.
it has to be, and I'll put that meme up on the screen in a second here.
Thank you, Eldritch. But yeah, like as much as I would like to see other characters, it doesn't make sense. Like, were they really gonna do like Vakama Metru or like Huki Anika? No, it was gonna be Tahu. And you know, I just think it's a shame that that's what Bionicle pretty much only can exist as. But c'est la vie. That's not really relevant to the quality of the figure itself, which is what we're gonna spend the most of this time discussing because not only do we have a figure to talk about and accessories to talk about and the whole meta of this figure existing, but we also have to talk about the entire saga that's led us to this point because this is this has brought a really a 2 decades ongoing saga to fruition, the saga of can Bionicle work as minifigures, and we now finally have it actualized. And we're going to talk all about that and some of the other concepts along the way that fans and other assorted people have made leading to this point. But I mean, I guess a good place to start would be, what do you think of this, Elja?
I think it's great. I think that they knocked this out of the park. I know that Bionicle fans are generally pretty dismissive when it comes to like alternative means of seeing Bionicle, or like sticker references or minifigures or brick built contraptions or what have you. I love seeing all the different ways Bionicle can be translated and kind of modernized and brought to the forefront. And I think this is outstanding. It's meant to be, the official title for this minifigure is Bionicle Cosplayer. So it's not Tahu directly, it's someone dressed up as Tahu. And I think they nailed it. I honestly think they did a wonderful job. I love all the detail work. They've definitely adapted a Toamata into system minifigure form extremely well, while still balancing that out with it's a guy in a costume or a gal in a costume. It's just it's great. I love it. I'm gonna get as many as I can for scalping purposes. Obviously, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, of
I'm not a
course.
scalper. I definitely do want to hold on to a few and get some to enjoy, and of course, review. But no,
You
it's
got to
great.
do it.
What do you think?
Dude, well, first of all, I want to shout out a super chat, but the person's name cut off. We go to their channel. It's Supreme Leader Toe Mater. Shout outs. Is that like Mexican $20?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's Mexican. He says, "What's Bionicle and why they?" Wait, no. What's Bionicle and why there's no cars in it? I don't know, Toe Mater. But we do too have cars. There's oh wait, no, that's a motorcycle. Wait, no, that's a
The
snowmobile.
Thornatus.
Is that a car? I guess that
Is
would
it? Would
count.
it not be a car?
No, you're right. You're right. That would count in the traditional sense. Yeah, okay. But we do have a car. We have the Thornatus V9. It's epic. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, Elder, you got to review it.
I will.
The people want it. The people are
I
hyped.
will. I'll review it. I reviewed all the others. This gets included. It.
But now
I don't know
you have
how
to
I'm
use.
gonna review it though, because it's a minifigure, and like
I
people
know
were kind
how.
of people were kind of scoffing at the fact I spent half an hour going over the GWP. So
And that's stupid. Like, there's a lot to talk about there.
there was so much
But
to
like,
talk
know,
about.
I know what you need to do, LJ.
Hmm.
You need the only way to do it is you need to make
Hmm.
custom physical minifigures where you get every single fan design ever printed onto a decal. You need to put them on a minifigure, review all the fan designs chronologically, oldest to newest, including the concept art way back when for the Toa Hordika minifigures. All of those, all into the modern day, and the Anika figures, and the Mari figures, and the Proc figures, everything. And then show like how it all led to this moment.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
It'd be epic.
Yeah. Okay. And by that point, you'll have the Hero Factory reviews started?
That's messed up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. What now?
I mean, that would be a good idea.
Mm.
It'd be an interesting video, but way too much work. But anyway, no, like, I. Wait, no. Green Tornado X review on the quality of the cosplay. Yes, you need to make an actual cosplay suit of
Oh,
Tahu
no.
in the style of the minifigure, and then review the minifigure as an adaptation of the cosplay, which you are also reviewing. And you have to go to a convention and have like footage of yourself going around.
I no. But I will say, if they want to do any other Bionicle cosplayers, I'd be down. You know? Give us a Liwa cosplayer. And instead of a canister, take another Miru in gold.
Lightning BW 4711, a Hero Factory GWP is more likely than Meso reviewing Hero Factory at this rate. That is depressing.
That is so
and,
accurate.
I mean, yeah, I can't say you're not right on that one. Nick's Omnihus, one tiny insy bitsy issue I have with the design is that the axle seen in the chest and back is 45 degrees, but the medium bevel gear is 0 degrees. It's negligible, but it eats at me. You can't be serious.
So I'm going to go ahead
Hold up.
and bring up some photos. This is a 360 view of the minifigure. These photos are courtesy of Brickset. So Brickset, they got these, the entire wave is review copies. That happens every time there's a new wave. And so these are their photos from their review.
What? Okay, so help me understand. So, what he's saying is that like the bushing is the same on the front and the back, but the gear itself is wrong from how it should be.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I'm never gonna be able to unsee this. Nightmare. Oh, how could you? Okay, but now see, I'm glad you pointed this out before I actually gave my opinion. This is trash. This is trash. This should never have been made, especially in this state. Lego clearly does not know how to handle Bionicle. They can't even pay attention to basic details. This is an insult. This is terrible. This is vile. This is worse than the stickers, which were already akin to like spitting on my grave. This sucks. Terrible.
Meh. I'll forget about it.
I envy you, LJ. I envy you being able to forget about it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just joking. I'm just messing around. It's not that bad. But like it is kind of bad, and I wonder how it happened. But say la vie.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a
not
cosplayer, all right? It's not an actual Mata torso.
That's true. You're right. That's the excuse for everything. It's a cosplayer.
Yeah.
I just keep getting derailed by stupid bits. I haven't actually given my thoughts yet.
What do you think about this minifigure?
It is very good. It is very good, and I like it. I have some issues, as I always do, and my issues are kind of like they're foundational, which I kind of want to talk about because we have some additional resources in the form of some footage that Duck Bricks took and like an Instagram video he released from like the fan media days. There's like some little facts I want to get into, and I have some problems with that. in terms of like how this was conceptualized. But if we put that aside and I just look at this figure, I think it's pretty much perfect. Almost. I think that the mask looks phenomenal. I think the solution for how to do the cosplay gimmick by making like the person's headband, the eyes, that's like really smart. And the way they did the mask allows for like light piping if you want to replace it with a transparent head, which a lot of people are already talking about. I think the torso print is fantastic. The leg print is fantastic. The little pauldrons that he wears to kind of simulate the black sockets, that's a really smart way of doing it. And I see a lot of discourse on that in terms of like, well, couldn't they have just put the black sockets on the arms? And yeah, they could have done that, but I think this looks better, like Sumi. But if he did not have the shoulder armor, I think this would look less cool. I actually do like that he has shoulder armor. I think it's a really good aesthetic,
Mm-hmm.
and it works for like an '01 throwback. Um, do I wish we'd gotten a unique fire sword? Yes, I won't lie, I do, but it would have been a waste of money. Like what they did is perfectly fine. It looks perfectly fine. I'm glad if they spent the budget on anything that they focused on making the how an original mold instead of doing like a helmet retexture or something. And the canister is literally just like icing on the cake. I had no clue we were getting that. I never once considered it was possible. And on those initial leaked pictures, I couldn't see the canister, so it was a very fun surprise to see
Yeah.
that
No,
in
the,
the
the
end.
canister was really awesome to see because we've gotten more or less unprinted versions of that with different references throughout the years. I think we got it in a Ninjago set with another Bionicle Tahu reference, and I think we got it in a Lego house set. But to see it actually
Yeah.
printed here, a literal minifigure sized canister, blows me away. That is outstanding.
No, yeah, it looks fantastic, and like it's just such a nice little extra to have. It really brings it home, and yeah, I mean, I think it looks fantastic. Um, at for what it is, they knocked it out of the park, and I'm really happy. And I would, of course, love to see all of the Toei in this style. I don't think we're gonna ever get that, but so be it. I will definitely be getting multiple, but not to scalp. But I would like to have a few for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, same. And let's talk about that mask real quick. This mask is outstanding. I could not have asked for anything better. Not only is it a good adaptation. Okay. One of the issues that I constantly see with people making minifigure Toamata or minifigure Bionicle characters is that
Mm-hmm.
most of the time it's just downscaling the sets and putting in a
Okay,
whole
yeah.
bunch of specialized pieces, but not actually modifying anything to look like it is in the Lego style. Because the Lego minifigures have an aesthetic. It's kind of a
Yeah.
simplified, almost childish looking, and I don't mean that dismissively, it's just like it's a young kind of simplified version of stuff. That's the idea. But what everyone does is they just shrink Bionicle pieces and slap them on minifigs and say, there you go, you have a Bionicle minifigure now. And it's just a small
Yeah.
scale. It doesn't look in the style. This
Dude,
mask,
it irritates me so much when people do that.
this mask is in the style. It's proportioned correctly. It has the look of a minifigure helmet and not just a small how. And you can see that it has been modified, and it's a really nice modification too. The the forehead has angles to it. It has sharp
Hmm.
ridges. It's angular like a normal forehead is, and it makes it look very helmet-esque. And honestly, to the cosplay angle, looks really good because a lot of cosplayers aren't necessarily, less so now. Now it's become more popular. Aren't necessarily using 3D printers to make their props. Oftentimes they use stuff like cardboard, and they have to mold things to their needs. So I think this mask looks tremendous. I think this is a really great example of a Bionicle piece made in a Lego system style. And I'd love to see
Mm-hmm.
more fan iterations of this instead of just shrinking Bionicle pieces. And that's also why I like the sword. It is a Lego version of Tahu's sword, not just Tahu's sword shrunk down.
Good way to put it. Good way to put it. Like I said, it's not like a huge deal. It would have been nice to get a new piece, but like this looks good. It gets the vibe across perfectly fine. And yeah, I think like, I mean, not to knock anyone's like creativity, but like, well, I mean, actually,
Uh-oh.
Let me rephrase that. Not to knock anyone's right to express Bionicle how they feel it should be expressed and to make good art with it, because art is subjective. But I do find it to be like devoid of creativity in a sense, to just be like, well, if Bionicle ever came back in a system way, it should just be what we got but smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Like at that point, why would I even want it? Like it's cool to see new variations, slight new ways of doing things. Like I'm glad that the GWP looked different from Tahumata, but was still like recognizable.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't have wanted them to just shrink down the designs of G1 pieces to have smaller ball joints, personally.
Mm-hmm.
But people will do what they want, and there's room for different interpretations. But I'm glad that they did it this way.
Yeah. And Toe of Plastic in the patron chat makes some really good points and observations. Minifigure accessories are a bit chunkier, mainly because they're smaller and can't have the same thin surfaces and sharp edges for stability and safety, which is a phenomenal point. And he also goes
True.
on to say, EVA foam is the go-to for cosplay armor these days, and I think the ridge on the forehead evokes that well. And that is also an excellent observation.
Yeah, no, that's all very true. It's an interesting question. I think they did it really well here, and especially like I know a lot of people were fearful that they were gonna make the mask like a helmet,
Mm-hmm.
and sure it attaches from the top, but like the back is completely open, which has pros and cons, but I think it's way more of a good thing than not. Especially because it allows for like if you want to replace it with a transparent head, you can do so, and it'll have like light piping, and already people have been wanting to do that, and they have been met with the despairing reality that a transparent pink unprinted minifigure head does not exist. We only recently got it with Lego Fortnite, and it has printing on it, so that's been fun. Um, there's like one or two Bricklink shops that are selling unprinted variants, and like people are speculating they're either factory leaks of like the unprinted base piece, or they're like just they've been scrubbed off, with nail polish remover or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to get my hand on one at some point, because I'm just curious what he would look like with a transparent head.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It looks great. It looks sick. I would love to see the other masks like this.
Yeah. 100%. And then I'm going to throw up a picture of the canister just so people can get a good look at it. Again, to reiterate, these pictures are courtesy of Brickset. These are Brickset's photos. They have a review of the entire wave. So go check that out. Just so everyone knows. We're not ripping them off. These are
Yeah.
Brickset's pictures.
Yeah, now lots of people in different outlets have gotten reviews out and early copies and stuff, but I'm always a Brickset guy. I like their work.
They take the
But
highest
yeah.
quality photos for sure.
Do we want to talk about the cosplay angle a bit?
Yeah, we should. I mean, we've been kind of touching on it gradually throughout all this, but I think we should because we haven't actually talked about the head print itself. You're not a fan of it.
Well, it's a complex issue. I think how they did it is really good. I think we can all agree on that, I think, because it's subtle enough to where like when a lot of people heard the term Bionicle cosplayer in the leaks, which was how it was referred to from word go, by the way. I think a lot of people were scared because, like, well, what does that mean? Is it gonna be like it's very obvious that it's like a homemade kind of cosplay, like it's a guy wearing a cardboard Tahu outfit? And at that point, that would probably just perpetuate the narrative that like Lego only likes to insult Bionicle fans, blah 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 blah. It's not really like that. When the minifigure is fully assembled, it totally passes for Tahu. And even when you take the mask off, the face print looks really good. Uh, but the problem I have is from the back view, because when you turn it around, it does not really pass anymore. And that's because the headband on the back of the head ties together in like a knot. And that's like really apparent from the back when it isn't from the front. Um, and so the illusion is kind of shattered, if you know what I mean. And I guess the question I just kind of have it's less about execution because I think it looks really good, and it's more about like why did they have to do it that way? Because even if they did not have it be a knot and they just had the headband like go all around the head, and maybe it's like a tight squeeze or whatever, but that if you like look at it a certain kind of way, it could totally pass as like the light stalk for the eyes. But because of the knot, it can't really. And is it a big deal? No, it doesn't ruin my enjoyment of the figure or whatever. But like, it's a bit of a shame to me, and I wonder why that choice was made. Is all.
I mean, it seems pretty obvious to me. It's because it is a cosplayer, and also this is something they've been doing for like Batman's white eyes. It's how they get it because it's a white bandana along the top of the print, and so this is kind of riffing on that. And I think this is a serviceable solution. I think this is fine because I wasn't expecting like a Mata head. Most people don't do Mata heads. Like my Miru, for instance, it has a tri strap that goes over my head. Like it doesn't look like my head is a Mata head. It looks like I'm wearing a mask. And in this instance, same deal. Looks like this is a person wearing a mask. I can't really complain about that.
So I guess my question is just like, does anyone have any views of the Batman bandana from behind?
Well, with Batman, it's a full cowl, so they don't have. It's usually a double-sided print, so it doesn't
I know.
actually
I
show.
mean, the headpiece itself. Oh, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Like different facial expressions.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So, but this, because the mask isn't a helmet, it's a mask. It has to be open in the back. You have to have something there. This is a
I
really
mean,
good
just
solution.
just if it were me, and like maybe I'm stupid because like I've cosplayed once and it was just as Lloyd Ford, you're wearing a suit. So like I've never like worn a big outfit or done anything, but like does the bandana have to be tied in a knot? That's my thing. And
This,
like is there an example of the Lego Batman figure, maybe there was one that wasn't had two faces, because I would like to see how they did that from behind,
well,
because if it was just the headband all around, I
that
think it would have been fine.
that doesn't matter though because Batman wears a full cowl. There are no other examples of that. It's just a white band across the top of Bruce Wayne's face because they don't
Hmm.
have to worry about the back being open. And also, there are so many different types of Bionicle cosplay. Like, there doesn't have to be any like crazy consistency. It can just be he tied a pink bandana to his forehead, and that's the
It's
eyes.
true. It's true. And like it's not a huge thing. I'm just like the bandana isn't the problem. Like it's the knot. That's what I'm getting at. And like realistically, maybe that's how it has to be.
It does. Yeah,
But
I mean,
like if they're
yeah,
trying to emulate a
because
cosplay.
I feel like this is a lose lose either way. Uh, are you misinterpreting saying that there's a version of the Batman head that has a knot in the back, Meso?
Uh I think Mesa was misinterpreting you saying there's a version. Well, no, I wasn't. necessarily, I wasn't misinterpreting you per se, but I was just like, I was wondering if every single print of the Batman head that's ever existed had two face prints, or if there's, yeah, what DT says, or if there's any example at all, like ever, where there's just one face, because I would love to see how they handled the back. Because how I would imagine it would be you would just have the band around the head. I doubt they would have gone through this elaborate exercise of tying a knot on the back of the head for a fully covered up, cowl
I
face
mean,
print.
my
But,
question is, what is your solution? What is the alternative to the knot problem? Which I
uh
agree is a knot problem. Broomsh.
nice. Yeah, Delrin plays was like a bandana without a knot is just a sweatband. And like, yeah, that's what I would do. I would just have it be a sweatband because it would functionally achieve the same thing. Maybe the guy just doesn't mind if it's a little tight around the forehead, Like it would be fine. And then I could kind of blur my eyes and interpret the sweatband as an eye stalk. Yeah, what Spiang is saying, an uninterrupted pink band without the knot. That would have been fine. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much what Eldge was getting at, is that like most of them are dual face prints. So it's like at that point it isn't really like it's all semantics at that point.
Yeah, I
Um
I think that this to me is a pretty significant nitpick, and I understand it's a cosplayer and it looking like I don't need it to pass as Tahu. It passes enough as Tahu. The headband does not detract from me personally.
yeah, and like I mean it doesn't ruin the figure or anything. But like if I'm looking for cons, it's like that's a big con, or like a con at the very least, and then you have like the side printing debacle.
Mm-hmm.
Um which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, I mean that's fair. That's totally valid. And it isn't a huge deal. Like if you interpret this as a Bionicle cosplayer and you're fine with that, then it doesn't bother you. If you interpret it as Tahu and you want to see it that way, just don't turn the figure around. And then if you really want to make it pass as Tahu more, procure a transparent minifigure head. Dark pink is the closest to his O1 eyes because that color, to my knowledge, doesn't exist anymore. But if you don't have access to dark pink, dark red would be like close-ish,
You can
and then
also
you could always go
always
the
go.
Stars Tahu approach.
Oh yeah, you could do that, but I was thinking you could also mimic Monog, make it yellow.
That's true. There are many paths to take.
Hmm.
Um,
I
but
so
yeah.
real quick. This isn't a super chat, but in the YouTube chat, Supreme Leader Tomater says everyone is talking about Tahu, but what's the name of the cosplayer? He has feelings too. The cosplayer's name, and I have a source in the inside. My uncle works for Lego. He says that the cosplayer's name is Tyler Anderson,
Bruh.
who is cosplaying as his
Messed up.
favorite Bionicle set, Tahu Mata from 2001.
It's deeply messed up, Eldridge. Deeply messed up. And there was actually a super chat I missed from Professor Sir Lojan 635, $5. Thank you so much as always. He says the cosplay thing is more an issue with CMFs more than Tahu. The CMF lines are flooded with them, and that's an interesting point I hadn't considered. I guess there are a lot, huh?
Mm-hmm.
But like it makes sense because there's like funny outfits you can dress people up in.
Yeah.
Like I get it. Um, Not a big deal. I guess for me, the question that I kind of come back to is why? And that's where there is actually like a little bit more to talk about. Not a ton, but like somewhat, because my question, like, okay, we both agree on this. We love the figure. I care about the knot, you don't. That's like really the only big point of distinction. Otherwise, like we're both super happy. Fair to say.
I would agree.
So that's like a settled issue. And for what it's worth, most people I've seen are happy. Like there's a little Bionicle community like negativity as always by people saying that like, you know, Lego is like spitting on them proverbially and like insulting their very core and they wish this would just stay dead. I've seen some people calling it like the Tahu Skinwalker. like you know, but like on the whole, not as many as I thought there would be, at least on public places. I haven't exactly deep dived into Bionicle servers because I'm not in that many of them, but most people seem to be happy with it this go around, which is nice to see. Um, so that's fair to say. We're both happy, but I do have some issues with the minifigure on like a foundational level, like in terms of why certain decisions were made. So there is a useful resource here because Duck Bricks went to Lego Fan Media Days last year, back when he was still part of the LAN. He's not anymore. And he got some video footage while he was at that event. Very short, but he put it on his Instagram. And it was basically the designers who were showing off the different CMF figures for the series. And they were, I'm not sure if they were answering questions or if they were just like elaborating about why the design decisions were made. And two things in specific came up. It was side printing, and it was like why it's a cosplayer. And so this is a quote from this Duck Bricks video. It's like, the reason they gave for that was pretty interesting. The designer said, "We always talked about doing a Bionicle figure, but the proportions are so odd compared to the actual thing. So doing a cosplay would be a wonderful way of doing it." That's the quote. And people are kind of extrapolating different things from that. Duck Bricks himself, wasn't too big a fan of that line of reasoning. I can't say that I am either, really. I prefer to, like, if we're just talking like what Sir Lojon said, which is that CMFs just do cosplays, that to me makes more sense. I look at that and I'm like, well, this is a precedent. Why not? This just kind of fits. But with that reason being given, like, they highlight that the proportions of Bionicle characters are so odd. We always talked about doing a Bionicle figure, but the proportions are so odd. That to me, and like, maybe I'm reading too much into their words here, so if I'm wrong, sue me. This is just my interpretation. That sounds like they've tried this before, and they've wanted to do this for a while, but they couldn't figure out how to make it work because the proportions of characters are so odd. To like make it work in this style, so the only way to do it was to make it a cosplay. That's really weird to me. And it's weird to me because, like, Crunch by Nuva in the patron chat, isn't that opinion validated by the Bionicle playsets? I don't think that opinion is validated even by this minifigure. Because unless you look at the minifigure from the back, it's not apparent that it's a cosplayer. It is a 100% accurate pass of Tahu. Some stuff changed, some stuff one-to-one interpreted, just shrunk down. And like, them saying that the only way they could make it, or they're not saying that, but like, if we infer it to be true that they're saying that they only were able to make the idea work by making it a cosplayer, I don't really see how that's the case, because the only thing that makes it a cosplayer is a face that's covered up. Which is really weird to me. I don't know. Do you get where I'm going with this, Eljay? Or do you disagree?
So it's weird because I'm a little bit torn because on the one hand, they obviously pulled it off. They pulled it off extremely well, in my opinion. But this is a minifigure. And minifigures, by and large, are pretty traditionally like humanoid. And there are some deviations from that, but those deviations do have modifications. Like when you initially said that, my first thought was, oh, what, have they never seen a Demogorgon? And because they've made a minifigure Demogorgon before. But then it occurred to me, well, no, they did actually give that like custom legs. So it's not exactly minifigure proportions. And I keep on trying to think, like, is there any other minifigure? There are so many. Are there any other minifigures that they've made where the proportions are unique or specific to the thing that they had to that they did not modify to be unique or specific? And my first thought after that was Toy Story and The Simpsons. And with The Simpsons, because they have those custom heads, with The Simpsons, that remains true. But Toy Story has changed that. They have Lego-fied the heads. So now we're seeing a bunch of Toy Story minifigures with specifically Lego heads and not the custom molds. So it feels to me like Lego is trying very hard nowadays to specifically cater to humans or regular human looking people being Lego minifigures, and anything that needs a drastic modification getting a custom series of pieces because it deviates from the idea of the minifigure too much. Right. So if they're looking at it from that angle, yeah, you know what? Maybe they're not super wrong in that a specifically Bionicle character with very specialized molds might not fit what they're trying to achieve with Lego minifigures. At the same time, that thought process to me feels like they're thinking about it too hard.
Yes, that's kind of what I'm getting at. And like, to be fair, like, to be entirely fair, these designers, this is like a 3-second snippet on a Duck Bricks Instagram video of them briefly addressing the issue. This is not a well articulated, fully explained, deep answer with years of development and different iterations of content. Like, we're inferring a lot when we're talking about this.
Absolutely.
So great grain of salt, but it's interesting to talk about. So just going off that, there was someone in the chat. How did I miss it? I saw something and now I've lost. Oh yeah, here we go. It was DM. This person's name, DMNK_KK CZK6186. Great name. They
what
say,
in the world?
I see it more like a justification for how can this figure coexist in the same universe as other CMFs. And yeah, that if that was the answer given, that makes sense to me. Like, if these CMFs are all meant to be like Lego people in the Lego world, well, obviously you're not gonna have Tahu. You need to have it look like that. Makes more sense, and maybe that's even what they're getting at.
Mm-hmm.
But they mentioned the proportions specifically, and I mean, the thing to address that you were mentioning with the headpieces, I think that's interesting to explore. I think the leg height is also interesting to explore. Like the Demogorgon and stuff, or even Jack Skellington. A more recent example where there was literally a Jack Skellington CMF figure released with normal legs, and then later on in the Nightmare Before Christmas set, he gets bigger legs. And I remember that was cited as a con about Jack Skellington way back then, because they were like, Jack Skellington is supposed to be tall and spindly in this minifigure. He's just a guy. But sure, you could say that's a flaw against the set or whatever, but I look at that figure and never once was I this is a bad representation of Jack Skellington. I can't tell this is supposed to be Jack Skellington. I could only tell that this is Jack Skellington if he was wearing a helmet of a skeleton and then underneath it was just a guy. That would have never once crossed my mind. I think that when you're looking at minifigures, at least when I do, I just kind of take it for granted that the characters are being stylized, they're being like reinvented into this design. And yeah, if they're walking around like in the worlds they inhabit, they might look slightly different, but when they're in minifigure mode, they just look like minifigures. Like to me it's not that deep.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that actual Lego designers are saying that, like, again, I know I've said this like 3 times, but like if it means what we're inferring it means, and I'm not just reading too much into it like a crazy person, asterisk, then to me it's kind of weird because that validates what a lot of Bionicle community people always say when they're like Bionicle can't be translated well into minifigures. It kind of loses the appeal of Bionicle. Sure, from a building perspective that's true, but I don't think that's true from like a design perspective at all, and especially not from a proportions perspective. If you're talking detail work, yeah, Bionicle characters are greebly. They have a million different like decals and designs or whatever. That might be hard to translate to a figure, but like proportions specifically, Bionicle characters already aren't consistent with proportions. You have like 7 different heights for Matoran alone. You're telling me like a Mictoran and an Avmatoran are the exact same like group of people? Like, give me a break.
Yeah,
Tahu
but
Master's probably twice the height of Tahu Mata.
But consider though, like when people are thinking about Bionicle, they're not going like, "Oh yes, Bionicle. I sure did prefer the one that was a decidedly different scale than the ones that I liked before. I do prefer Photark, who is a few centimeters taller than Jala Mictoran. No one's thinking about the Mictoran or the Matoran or the Avtoran or anything. They're thinking of Tahu. They're thinking of Vakama, Metru. They're not thinking
I
about
get
that.
it.
And that certainly goes for Lego.
I get it. And you're right about that. That's a good point to make. But like, I don't know. If I right now was an artist, which I'm not, and I was wanting to just make minifigures of Bionicle characters. Like, I've seen it be done. I know it can be done. I know people could do it. I look at this figure. I'm talking about Jala McTorin, you know, and then I look at this guy, Jala Inaika. Both of these could be translated to a minifigure
Hmm.
with no trouble,
Now the question
despite
becomes,
Jala McTorin being like the size of maybe the middle of his lower leg.
but my question is, would Jala McTorin have small legs or the moving small legs? I don't know if we've had any scholars in the community, like thinking
Uh,
about this topic.
our greatest minds would disagree. This is true. And like, just to be clear, okay, because I know we have seen other people, like we were saying earlier, people who have just made like small Bionicle, right? I know that exists, and it's cool. It isn't what I would personally want to do, but like I've seen it, right? That's not what I'm talking about either. I'm not saying like you could make a minifigure of Jala McTorin. I'm saying like you could just make like a normal sized standard minifigure that was meant to evoke Jala McTorin, and then a normal minifigure that was meant to evoke Jala Enika. And I don't think Bionicle fans would care that they're the same height. Or even like maybe one has short legs and one doesn't, whatever. But like you get what I mean. The same family, the same like design template. And more than Bionicle fans caring, I don't think casual people would be confused by it either if the printing is like evocative enough to get the point across. Like, yeah, I'm buying a minifigure. I'm not expecting it to be the same height as like a giant mech. That's all I'm saying. And Toa of Plastic, I think they're talking about body proportions more than size of characters relative to each other. You're probably right. That is probably true. At that same point, I would say, I mean, yeah, the proportions of Jala McToran are weird. The proportions of Jala and Ica are more Like obviously you have like the wide shoulder or whatever, but he's more normal, you could say, in terms of like how low the arms reach. But like I don't know. Do they really think people are that particular? Maybe they're that particular. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. And then of course this all goes without saying, like, would system or goes without asking the question that we have been asking for almost a decade now, consistently. Would Bionicle best be a minifigure system theme? Like,
Who knows?
is this a good argument for it? And I don't know if it is or not. I don't know if this is a good argument for it or against it, because I still think about this. I still think, and I talk to other people in the community who very strongly believe that this is a misstep. There are some folks that believe this is not the direction that Bionicle should be taken in, because you take what's very unique and interesting and special about Bionicle, having these durable action figures that you build, and you remove it. And of course, the counter to that is, well, Bionicle, in a lot of ways, is more than that. It's an interesting story theme with a deep mythos and atmosphere, and it's something unique unto it beyond just the medium in which physical products are sold. But that's beyond the scope of this video, I would think.
You're right though. Like the question goes on and it's eternal. Like for me, like yeah, I agree. Like we've said it a million times. Like I prefer construction figures. I don't necessarily want minifigure Bionicle like over construction. I want construction back. But I'm like, I look at this and I'm like, does this figure look like Bionicle? Does it get the aesthetic across in a minifigure form? I think yes, it does. Unequivocally, no argument.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
Yeah.
You have the mask, which is great. You have the torso and leg printing, which is awesome. So just build that outward. Could we get Rahi that look like Bionicle? Could we get, locations and play sets that look like Bionicle? Or could we get vehicles that look like Bionicle? I think the answer is yes. I think Lego they're capable of doing it. It's just a matter of, are they interested? Do they want to? And do they think people would buy it? Right. And yeah, Rennie, you saw the same one.
Yeah, it's really good.
Rennie the Space Guy 7285. The misstep argument is funny. Oh no, this minifig will compromise all the nothing we're getting. Like, yeah.
That's really good, yeah. And that's also very good.
Pretty
Like,
much.
I think that's a good it's a good response to a lot of people that are upset at this, like, they could be giving us Bionicle. Instead, they spit in our faces and give us this mockery. System Bionicle, a cosplayer. They could have just given us minifigure Tahu, but they decided to cheap out on us. Yeah, as opposed to all the other Bionicle we have. This is great.
Like, I don't know, man. I've seen enough at this point over the years. Like, do you remember? It's been like almost a decade, I think, or maybe it has literally been a decade. Oh, geez, since like the Brickonicle contests, which predated the Brickonicle project, which we did on the message boards, and it was like make system Bionicle sets, go. Like I saw enough there to convince me of the prospect, because it's more than just minifigures. Minifigures, I think, are what people are most like scared of, which is why it's good to see Lego be able to do one right. But like, it's more than just that. You need like actual sets, and people see Lego nowadays and they see Ninjago, and I think they're afraid of getting a theme that's like Tahu's fighter jet or Liwa's jungle bike, and then in 3 years you get Liwa's jungle bike extreme, and it's the exact same thing with like some gold pieces on it.
Ooh.
But like we saw in that contest, what?
Oh no, so you just said gold pieces. Like, listen, all these things sound good to me. I'm down.
There you go. But like, I mean, there's been enough mocks over the years of people doing like Rahi builds and, big village-based landmarks that are something like you'd see out of Minog. And yeah, sure, you can have some mechs and vehicles like literally existed in Bionicle actually in the later years. Like, it's not heretical to have that stuff. But like to me, it's about the vibe. It's about the aesthetic. You have to make it look different than generic action theme number 832. Bionicle, at its core, it has a look to it, and I think you could pull that off, certainly. But who knows? Who knows what we'll ever see? And now the complications gotten even like I misspoke. The controversy's gotten even more complicated, I should say, because of the GWP. Because now it's like, well, now we know Lego can kind of make Bionicle style figures even nowadays. Like, I think if you just took that GWP and you made some unique pieces, maybe have like a small budget of custom parts, some armor here, some armor there, like you would see in like an SCCBS mech, some new parts. I think you could totally make good quality figures. Like we saw the community make most of the sets from Bionicle's history in GWP style over the years. I've seen Paraka, I've seen Titans, I've seen all the other Toa, I've seen Rahi. Like it can be done. Um, and yeah, just so we don't misrepresent people's arguments, Toa of Plastic adequately says, I think the feeling from a lot of people is just that minifigures look silly and can't convey the same tone stylistically as Construction. I don't disagree, obviously. I'm a Construction guy first and foremost. I always have been.
Yeah.
Um I guess for me it's just, as we always say, like you were saying, Elge, it's Bionicle is a lot more than just the product. And if we could live in a world where Bionicle could exist and thrive and get the budget needed to fulfill its vision and not be like shortchanged by Lego's handling of it, could that happen without it being Construction? Like, would that be an acceptable compromise? And a lot of people say no. But shrug, I think it
Yeah.
could.
I do want to take some time at some point and try and delve more into conceptualizing what a modern Bionicle could look like. And I don't mean modern Bionicle like system Bionicle. I mean like what could a successful Bionicle pitch look like? Full theme. And like that's something I'd like to actually delve into one day. But today is not
So
that
you
day.
don't mean like Brickonicle and Brainstorm. You mean more of like a how would this be handled by Lego kind of a thing, like
How
a
could you
how many
pull
sets,
off
what kind of sets.
yeah, how could you pull off Bionicle successfully now? Because it's not going to be like G2. G2 will never happen again. It would have to be done. You would have to make Bionicle in a way that Lego would make it now through one of the avenues they have now. Is it a
Hmm.
system theme? Is it a Technic theme again? And what are the challenges of making it a Technic theme? Is it a purely adults welcome 18 plus GWP style? Every so often you get an occasional set like this kind of a theme. Like Phasite Nova in the chat, YouTube chat says at least 10 smart bricks. Is it a smart brick theme? That sounds like a silly question to ask. But is it a smart brick theme? Like there are just so many things that I would be curious to explore as a thought experiment and then conceptualize.
That would be fun. That's definitely like that's outside the scope of purely you and I. We would need to get other people involved in
100%. And
that.
Teleplastics, like,
But
get me
like
on that project. 100%. 100%. I would love your input and your insight and your perspective on things. And there are a bunch of people I'd love to tap as far as thought
because it
process
would
and
be
perspective.
it is a good point though, because like we never got far enough in Brickonicle to really get into like the sets. We were really focused on the world, the story, the visuals. We never really got to the sets.
Mm-hmm.
And that is kind of important because like we had plenty of minifigures, no sets. And there are vastly different, ways it could go. Interesting. We'll put a pin in that for the future because yeah, I think that'd be some cool content. But okay, yeah, there was one other thing from the Duck Bricks video I wanted to talk. And like, okay, I know I'm going off on tangents. Just to recenter it, I love the figure. So like, I talk about that whole thing with like the cosplayer and like, why is it a cosplayer? I love it even if it is a cosplayer. Like, it's not a big deal. And quite frankly, I think the way they did it is cool. I think it's charming. So not a big deal at the end of the day. I just like to figure out the why of it, and that's kind of the related to this next bit as well. Oh yeah, I remember that. All right, you gotta put this up, Eljay. Credit to Plastic. It was the April Fool's joke on their Twitter back on April 1st, 2024. It's I mean, listen, for as much of a meme as this is a way it could be done. It
Here,
is a way.
I'm getting it posted.
Locked. Yeah, this isn't
Right.
even this is before SCCBS. Wait, no.
No, SCCBS
Is
is
it?
literally in every single one of these.
Okay, yeah, it's the arms. That's right. The legs are a different beast. I mean, listen, this is funny. I'd buy these. But yeah, what I was saying was just like I love this figure. I don't want to like harp on it too much, but I do have questions. This next bit also makes me have questions because one of the things that Duck Bricks was talking about in the video from the fan media days was the concept of like printing, and he points out like there's incredible printing, there's detailed torso printing, there's dual molded legs, even like the feet have stuff, which is awesome. But a big notable downside is that unlike most other CMFs, there is no printing on the sides of the legs or the arms. And I'm just gonna be honest, I don't know about you, LJ. When when we were looking at these leaks and when we were seeing this minifigure for the first time, I didn't even like think about that whatsoever. I just kind of accepted in my head. I just connected the dots in my brain and was like, oh, well, this figure is really detailed and they made a custom how. They must have just ran out of budget. So be it. Is what it is. The thought didn't like remotely cross my mind that it would be anything else. So apparently, Duckbricks does not have footage of this, but he does say that the reason that was given when asked about this was that, quote, they tried to include arm and leg printing, but they couldn't make it look right. They could not figure out a way to make it just look like the original Technic pieces. And so they figured the easiest thing to do was to not include arm or leg printing at all, even though it was an option in the budget. So that is, to me, that is interesting. And again, I don't want to be super negative, but all I have to say to that is like, really? You couldn't figure out how to do it? I mean, really? Like, maybe I'm not one to talk because I'm not an artist. So it might be the height of arrogance for me to presume that something could be done. What? What's so funny?
Kuba in the Patreon chat. Every millimeter not printed is another year of Bionicle sitting in purgatory.
True.
That's really funny.
So like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a jerk. Call me out if I am. Feel free. But like Rennie the Space Guy 7285 says here, what's the point of arm printing here? It would just be noise and clutter the design. If that was the reason given, I would actually respect that. The fact that that isn't the reason given, and the reason given is they wanted to, they tried to, and they just couldn't figure out how to make it look like the original. That's kind of what I have a problem with, because I mean, there's a litany of figures through the community's history, and we have a few of them on standby to just kind of show ways in which this could be done. I think the first one we should pull up, LJ, is the one by TTV message boards user Ragdoll. I want to start with this one because it's like, I mean, it's really not a one-to-one translation of Tahumata. The only reason I want to even show it is because it takes what I would consider like a very subtle kind of approach to arm printing. Like it does not have any side printing on the legs whatsoever, but it does have arm printing, and specifically what he's able to do is make the black sockets actually built into the arms, add like a single piston pretty much, which runs from like the upper, shoulder area to the elbow, and then whatever the thing on the lower arm is meant to be. I don't really understand that. Tahu. So like we're not talking about that specifically as being like this is how it should look, but like I mean this is an example of how it could look. And like one of the things that they're talking about, I think, would be the pistons and the black shoulder pieces. So they found a solution to that with the shoulder armor, and I do prefer how that looks over just baking it in. Again, it's more a question of like it being feasible. Like, do you agree, Elge? Do you prefer the shoulder armor?
I don't know if I necessarily prefer the shoulder armor over doing half and half limbs, because usually whenever they do dual molded arms, it's in service of a pretty distinct cutoff point. Like you have minifigures that have dual molded limbs for like short sleeves, but the short sleeve is supposed to go to the elbow. So and Tahu's shoulders do not go to the elbow. So it's hard for me to say whether I would have preferred that. I think the way that the compromise they arrived to, I think, is really good. I like it. I don't. It does not bother me compared to this, and I don't want to be in the business right now of critiquing people's artwork or designs. This design
Sure.
is by Ragdoll, was for Brickonicle. It's a different take on Tahu, and I think for the take that it is, it works well for its design. I don't think that this is quite as immediately applicable to the cosplayer.
Sure.
Because
I take these.
Go ahead.
I selected these for more of like by degrees. I want to highlight things that they did as like I'm not even saying like Lego should have done this. I'm thinking more like there's an idea pool. There's like many different ways to translate this kind of idea. And like specifically the arms is what I'm focusing on this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was if you want we can move on to the next one. We don't have to linger too much on each one specifically.
Yeah. Let me see. Shan.
Next one, I think. Next one, let's pull up GTL 824s, which again was just a design. This one was not even for anything. This was just an idea of how to do Tahu. And this was actually like an updated pass, like a second attempt. Also, there was a super chat from the incredibly named Pickled Pretzels 7970,
Ooh.
who sent $5 Canadian. Can't tune in live, but hope you two are enjoying YouTube retirement. I mean, we've been kicking up on sandy beaches, resting, not doing anything whatsoever. So it's been nice.
We've been very busy.
LJ?
We've been so busy. What's wrong with you?
More so. LJ's been very busy and stuff. But I mean,
yeah,
it has been nice to get away from like Bionicle community toxicity for a bit and to be able to come back when there's like positive stuff to talk about. Like that is pretty fun. But thank you for the support. I hope you enjoy on the replay. So this iteration right here by Jeetle, this is like pretty close to what we got, especially with like the pauldrons and stuff, the shoulder armor piece in black, like very similar in terms of like how he handled it. But even with that, he still has printing on the arms. And like if I held a microscope up to that and if I remove the shoulder armor, like is it a 1-to-1 with how the arms look for Tahumata? No. Does it kind of give the vibe? Yeah, like it has ball joints, it has pistons, it has little greebles. I mean, looks good to me. I don't see that and like well I'm repulsed. This doesn't look like Tahu at all. No, it looks pretty fine. Um I mean, what do you think? Do you think
Yeah.
it looks over designed or complex?
I think it's hard to say because of the rendering of this image. It's a 2D image, and so there are certain aspects of it that are visible in a 2D image that kind of
Mm-hmm.
clutter it up when it wouldn't necessarily be that way in the final iteration. Like there's a black line that cuts through the hand holding the sword. That line continues down the inside of the arm. There are two black lines on the inside of the arm that would not be reflected. Those are obviously just like 3D model corners or edges that have been rendered with an outline. So
Right.
there are certain things which would not necessarily reflect. I think this looks good, but I also think that what we got looks good. Um, I did have a thought as we were talking about this,
Sure.
and like yeah, this looks very good. Jiddle did a great job on this, and he also posted some other renderings of minifigure Toamata, including Aliwa, which is really nice. Um, but a thought occurred to me. Instead of like, I don't think Lego would have been able to appropriately look at fan designs and pull from that for inspiration as much as they may have been able to pull from like actual cosplays of Tahumata, of which we've had
Yeah.
quite a few. I'll post a couple in the chat if I'm able to.
Did I always love that one. That one's so funny.
Yeah, let me go ahead and pull them up as well for
It's
everyone
such
to
a
see.
smart way to handle it too. Like the way the arms have to like the human arms give leverage to like the bionicle arms. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Um I'll work on getting these up. They're cosplay examples from over the years. But
I can I can like I should clarify here. My intent behind this exercise, and I have two more to show, and then that's it. I'm not really gonna like labor on this point all day. But like for these minifigures specifically, I mean, and these cosplays too. This is a good point to make. I'm less saying Lego should have gone online, Googled Tahu minifigure, and then straight up like plagiarized a design or like interpreted someone's minifigure design onto Tahu. I'm not saying they should have done that. I'm saying if random people on the internet could conceptualize ways to make it work that maybe aren't perfect, but kind of get the point across, I find it difficult to believe that Lego designers and clearly very talented CMF design artists couldn't figure out a way to kind of get the point across. Um, like again, like what the person earlier, like Rennie the space guy, said and was like, "This will just look bad and be over designed." Totally respect it. We just want to make it simpler because it looks better. Totally respect it. We ran out of budget. Totally respect it. Just couldn't figure out how to do it, so we stopped trying. Makes me go like, thinking emoji just a little bit. Not a big deal. I'm still super appreciative and thankful. I promise I'm not trying to be a snide jerk, but like you get what I'm saying. Like it's a question of if you really wanted to do it, find a way because clearly there's like 8 different ways. And speaking of, um, do you want to? Are you cycling through like the cosplays?
oh, I already got them. But yeah, no, if you want to go ahead, we can move to the next minifigure and I'll move to the
Okay,
cosplays.
cool. Yeah, the next one I want to show is from an ideas project by a guy named Sean Diol, Shaan hyphen Deol, and like everyone has their preferences for how this could be done. Like Eldra said, I'm not really here to like critique anyone's art like explicitly because like quite frankly, I think this is cool and I would buy it. But like if I see, if someone looked at this and was like this is an example of over designing, like I would get it because this is pretty like it's very over designed and I'm not even the biggest fan of necessarily how the legs are done. I think, just putting Tahumata's legs on the side of a minifigure probably isn't something Lego would do. They would want to stylize it. But again, we're just talking options here. We're talking about ways to do it. And I think the arms look pretty good. I think, again, the arms get the point across. It's got the ridges. Iron Man helmet, how? Like Lightning PW4711 was joking about earlier. Obviously, I'm happy that we got an actual unique mold, but I mean, hey, this would have been fine for me. And then the next one we're going to talk about also would have been fine for me. So we're talking ideas. And yeah, I mean, if you want to give commentary, Eldra, or we could just move on, whichever you want.
Yeah, I think I definitely believe that this minifigure here it does more or less the same for a minifigure that we were talking about earlier, people doing where they just shrink Bionicle pieces. This is just shrinking details and trying to make it work for a minifigure when it's not Legoizing it.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I'm
But
ready for the
again,
next one.
a good effort. So the final one, I think, is the one that I've always been the biggest fan of. Our personal biases notwithstanding, and that is Sakota's from the Legend of Bionicle Ideas Project, which, notably speaking, was not part of the initial pitch for the project, but it was added later on as like a bonus in like the creator updates section. And this has always been kind of my go-to. It's similar in some ways to that last one, but it's streamlined a bit. The side printing, it isn't just overlaying the print of or like a picture of the Tahumata legs, but you kind of like flatten it, you make it go all the way down, you adapt it. The arms goes all the way down, you have the black bits, you got everything. Um, you know, all that. I think this totally could have worked, and any one of these ideas could work. I think with some refinement. Um, and like Rennie the Space Guy says, I get you're not attacking the design, but what I get from the interview reads more as we tried some of the just getting the points across ideas and didn't meet their standards. And yeah, you're probably right on that. Because like ultimately, what looks good isn't up to random people on the internet. It's up to the designers, and they want to make it look a certain way. And if they don't think that they can make it work, who are we to say? You know,
Well,
they may have gone through dozens of ideas like this.
we're consumers. That's who we are to say. But I
Good
say
point.
they did do a very good job. I think the translation they did is very good. I will say, like, obviously I love what Sakota made. And I think it's important also to remind ourselves that all of these designs are in a pre-Bionicle minifigure world. Like, they were all made more or less pitching the idea. They're all suggestions. They're all ideas. Could this work? Might this work? Does this look
Mm-hmm.
good? What do people think? And now we have an actual concrete answer of what Lego would do with those ideas, with those concepts and pitches. And I think it's remarkable to see where those things lined up and where
Mm-hmm.
they differ. And I think the minifigure not having arm printing to me is not a huge deal. I think that just because they could do it doesn't mean they necessarily had to do it. I
Fair.
think there are some people that would argue, well, that would, and we're seeing that kind of in the chats as we're talking. Um, some would say that they would make it too complex, too like over designed. To me,
Yeah.
they really did a great job giving themselves an out by making it a cosplayer, because it does allow them some leeway. It allows them some wiggle room to make it a believable Tahu, and yet still not have to fully adhere to this is 100% an adaptation of Tahu Mata. It is an adaptation
said.
of an adaptation. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and cycle through these cosplays real quick, if that's good with you, Meso.
Yeah, by all means. I'm pretty much done making that point.
Fair enough. So, like, here's some cosplays, just two of them that I found online. This is a classic. This is from long, long time ago. This is, I don't know if this is an adult or if this is a child. Did I already post this in the patron chat? I did. I'm sorry. I'm duplicating. This is a Tahu Mata cosplay. I don't know the source. I don't know who this is.
They're epic. That's what they are.
But I think it's interesting to note that whoever this is wearing a red shirt and with orange sleeves, and the orange sleeves are orange. They're just purely orange, and that's exactly what I see with the minifigure. And I think that works because it's not trying to be specifically the canister set. It is its own unique thing, that's its own unique interpretation.
Yeah. Well said.
Now, there's one other cosplay I wanted to highlight. This one I do have a source for. It is Stunnage on Reddit, who posted this cosplay 3 years ago. And this is a far more accurate to a person style suit. And here you can see, all right, well, maybe there are some details that LEGO could have added to the minifigure. Something that does conform to a minifigure arm shape. We see the two black holes for the pinholes, and we see kind of that Technic greebling a little bit. But this is obviously a more involved costume that is meant to be more form-fitting. I really ultimately don't know if it was necessary to give it arm printing or side leg printing. Could they have done it? It sounds like they had the budget for it, but I actually kind of would have preferred if that budget went to a recolor of the HOW. I would have loved to have seen it in gold, so we had it as an option, if that was an option, because the way LEGO design budgets work, it's not just one, hey, here you have $500, design something. They use some frame system that I'm not fully educated on. But I think that what we ended up getting conceptualized, or the way it is pitched to us, to me makes it something that I can accept, and it doesn't feel like a cop-out. And just because they were able to do a little bit extra, to me, I don't feel like I've lost something here. Like, looking at it, when I saw this before that interview, I didn't go, I don't know, I feel like they could have done more. To me, this felt like a complete minifigure that went beyond what I was expecting, because I didn't expect them to do a custom mask. I didn't expect them to do the canister. Like, those are things so totally beyond what I could have I could have hoped for. So
that's well said, I think. I think that's totally valid. And I mean, for what it's worth, I agree. I don't necessarily think the minifigure's worse because it doesn't have side printing. To me, it's all just a thought experiment, because for something big like this, I care a lot about the why of a decision more than the actual decision, because it might inform stuff we see in the future, you know? So I just want to think it out loud, and already I'm learning stuff, like, from the points you're making, and like Rennie the Space Guy keeps making really good points. Like said, it's worth noting, while the designs are lovely on all these, the second and last seem to have the print go too far to the front of the arm prints. LEGO arm printing is always limited to just flat.
It's also true.
So, I mean, yeah, good point. There's lots of things to consider, probably more than I'm able to conceptualize. So, there you go. I think all that is fair and well said. And, I mean, who knows? We may never know. But I would hope that, you know, say one day we hypothetically do get System Bionicle, and it's not just about redoing old sets or making commemorative tributes and trying to make printing look like certain sets. It would be cool to see detailed minifigures with arm and leg printing that looks Bionicle-y. Like we didn't mention it, but Brickonicle, the project, had a lot of artwork made for it and a lot of minifigure designs that had side printing, and they looked tons like, they helped convey the aesthetic of Bionicle, in my opinion, without looking overly designed and cluttered. But it was helped because it was original takes on the characters. So people were kind of able to do whatever. And I didn't really want to talk about that too much because it's irrelevant to the combo. Because, we weren't trying to replicate Tahumata with the Brickonicle Tahu design. It was meant to be a new take. So, we'll see. This is probably irrelevant because we're probably never getting any more Bionicle minifigs, but who knows? The world may never know. We can dream.
True. But I think for what we got, I think we really won with this one. This looks great. I'm very satisfied. I would love to see more Bionicle cosplayers. And yes, it is for selfish reasons.
True.
Oh,
but I think it should be...
Oh, go ahead.
We should just get an Eljay minifigure. But it's your original mask, like the cardboard mask.
Okay, you lost me. Epic. No. No.
It was epic. It was well done, especially like
it was not.
I thought it looked good. It has a charm to it.
It has a charm. That doesn't mean it was good.
But yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you largely speaking. I am very happy, and I wish there would be a situation where we could get more figures and have it not just be all Tahu, because I really don't want to, like I mentioned it at the start, I don't want to complain about the Tahu thing for this because it's appropriate. But like there is a part of me that just does wish we could get something that wasn't Tahu. Something. I guess there have been some stickers, but a lot of those have still been Tahu.
So, like, a lot of them really have been.
I'm just really sick of seeing this guy.
Yeah.
Well, that being the case, did you really have any other points you wanted to hit on this, Elj?
Not really. I mean, I'm pretty satisfied with things. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot more to add or say.
Well, then we'll do the Knack and Jay tradition, because we can go another 20 minutes, but we might not. We might cut it early. But see, like, does anyone in the chat, Patreon or YouTube chat, have any questions they want to ask about this figure, what we've been up to, random channel stuff, Biocraft, the future of Bionicle, etc., etc., and we can do some Q&A. And if not, we'll just head out of here. But I will say thank you to everyone who commented on the news video, who was telling me about the existence of the CMF barcode scanners, which I had no clue was a thing. And I kind of got to wonder, how long has it been a thing? Because if that has always been the case, then why did people ever feel the bags? So I can't help but think it's a recent invention. You know what I mean?
It is a recent invention. So the way that all panned out, so originally they were bags, and then Lego switched to boxes. And so what people were doing is, with the bags, you could feel the bags and feel like certain pieces, so you could generally know what you were going to get. But then when they switched to boxes, there was no way to do that. So there was a rash of vandalism occurring, where people would open the box, see what was in it, and then just leave it on the shelf and then move on to the next. So you'd go to a store and you'd find just a slew of damaged, opened boxes. So what Lego eventually did is they made it so that there are particular codes on the boxes, and then fans have developed apps to like actually check and see which is which. So
right, okay.
At least that's my understanding. If I'm wrong, please, people, like, let me know. And
I mean, that makes sense to me.
That is how I understood that happened.
Okay. I mean, hey, I'm certainly not complaining because when this came out, I thought I was gonna have to just go online and pay like scalped prices on eBay, and then people were like, "No, you can just scan a barcode." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Guess I'll do that then. Probably be pretty easy." So we'll see. Now that I say that, I bet all the Bionicle fans will come out of the woodwork and beat me to it. So I mean, who knows? Where will you be hunting them down, LJ? Do you have like local stores in your area? Does Walmart get like
Yeah.
collectible minifigures? I don't even know.
Yeah, Walmart does get the CMF waves. So,
Okay, well, that's good to know. I know some stores don't.
um, Spyang asks, but why not just label them explicitly in that case? Well, they are supposed to be blind boxes. It's supposed to be you grab a box, you open it, and oh, what did you get? It is supposed to be a surprise. So if you are higher affinity into Lego, you're gonna know about the app. You're gonna know like how to find it. But the idea is that it's supposed to be kind of a lottery.
Right.
So,
Let's see. We got a super chat from Delrune Plays 2903. Thank you as always. $25. That's very generous. Thank you.
thank you.
Says OG LJ minifig win. Always fun to catch a Knack and J live. Looking forward to getting this minifig and Biocraft 2. Epic. Well, we got to be precise. It's by Biocraft the Bow Rock update. There is no Biocraft 2 yet.
Wow.
Who knows?
Yeah, no, Lego would never. I don't think Lego would ever make a Bionicle or Lego YouTuber minifigure at this point. They certainly would not make me. If they did, I'd cry. I'm not someone that cries. That would be devastatingly kind. But no expectation. I'm gonna stick with my customs.
Fair enough. Let's see what we have in the way of questions. Joker's Wild asks, "What's everyone been up to? Chillin', living life."
That sounds nice.
Everyone's just been kind of doing their own thing, working, personal life. We do have like creative stuff behind the scenes, some of which we haven't announced. And we still have aspirations to do YouTube stuff, but it's largely contingent on some like big life changes that some people in our group are trying to make, and it's, life is an ongoing tangled saga of delays and various struggles. So, hopefully it does happen. But we're all doing fine.
Yeah, pretty much.
When are we gonna get Hero Factory Craft? I mean, it would be fun. I feel like there are jokes that could be made there. My problem with HF is like I wish Makuhiro City was more developed as a location. Because half the fun about Biocraft is you make the island. But like with Hero Factory Craft, like, okay, well, we could make the assembly tower. We could make the very limited bits of the city that we see in the fly-in, like CGI animatic. And then maybe that one episode where Furno and Stormer fight each other. Gets corrupted and he becomes evil and we fly through the city. Past that, there's not really that much developed in the way of like the geography. We got some like base maps and as like Faber concept art, but a lot of stuff would need to be kind of filled in and ad-libbed. But I mean, I'm sure something could be done.
Yeah. HeroCraft comes out right after Meso starts the Hero Factory set reviews.
There you go. And then MIGI -6. I'm going to be selfish and ask for feedback of my post on the TTV MB. Well, I would be happy to do that. But given time constraints, we could probably only do one. Pick one you'd like me to take a look at, and I definitely will do. I see you have like a few like cool pieces of artwork and like GWP character creators and stuff. But yeah, just let me know and I'll take a look at one. Let's see. Axion Von Shadow 539. What if we order torso with arm printing off of Bricklink? What do you mean specifically? Just like any any torso, because like I mean, sure you could customize the minifigure however you want, but I doubt there's like a torso that exists with arm printing that would resemble Tahu. You know what I mean? So it probably wouldn't work. Um, Monarb, I have an opinion question for you two. If Takanuva had the choice, no Destiny stuff attached, of which team he could join, would he stay with the Mata or would he choose to go with the Mari? This is post 2010.
Oh, Mari. Simply
Yeah.
because Takanuva is an honorary member of the Toa Nuva, which he could still be, but like the characters he grew up with were the Mari. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I
At
think
least.
like I agree. I think like he's never been shown to be that good of friends with the Toamata because we never really got to see him interacting with anyone except for Tahu, really, in a post 2003 world. Maybe Gali. I think he had some scenes with Gali in the comics when he saved her from Krika. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much Tahu. Whereas he's like best friends with Jala, and also, I mean, yeah, what Tom Plastic said, the Mari need a new white guy, so you know they have a vacancy, you could say. Um, so yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah. All right.
And Kuba, wait, no, what Eldrick? Go ahead,
No, go ahead.
Kuba in the patron chat. Any plans on a Monog 1 and 2 revisit slash Knack and J at some point? I get that it might be a bit reductive after all. How much could there be to talk about? I mean, aside from the final parts of each Let's Play, I don't think we've ever like talked about them in excruciating detail. I imagine there's probably some things you could say about them. I won't rule that out unilaterally, but I don't know. Certainly a valid idea.
We've long had a episode pitch that is titled of Knack and Jay. That's titled "Monog was a mistake," and so that's still a subject that we could.
Did we never do
discuss.
that?
No.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
I could have sworn we'd done that.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, what were you saying, Alter?
Yeah, no, I just that could be done at some point. I know we discussed the possibility of revisiting Minog when we were doing our Minog, the Minog series.
Yeah.
Was that last year?
I think so.
No. Whoa, wow, I'm way out of touch. Nope. Minog with Meso was 2 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And yeah, because we did that. The first episode of that came out February 19th, 2024. It was in celebration of the 10th anniversary of Minog with Meso. But
That's wild.
yeah. So that could be done at some point.
Fair enough. Real fast, just do a few fire off real quickly. Thoughts on the CMF Ronin, totally not Lloyd.
Oh,
What do you think, Eldra?
yeah, it's Lloyd. Looks good.
I think he looks awful. I think it's like a horrific minifigure.
Looks
I don't know what they were thinking with that hairpiece.
looks totally good to me.
He looks awful. Could the GWP in this minifig be tests from Lego to feel out if Bionicle's still somewhat popular?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know either. I feel like the thing is things can have multiple like benefits. It like them doing a tribute. Sure, it might also give them some metrics, but that doesn't mean it was made to get those metrics. You know what I mean? Like it's a happy accident kind of in a way. I
Yeah.
think that's more likely the truth of the matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And then Miggy -6 mentioned the GWP Matoro done for with Blender. I am seeing this now. Like people are so talented still on the boards. Like there's so much cool like artwork and mock stuff that's been made. Like I put it in the Patreon chat, but like just full on like renders in the GWP style. Not only is this beautifully done, but like, man, I wish we had more GWP stuff. That's like my one takeaway. I really, really wish we had like more GWP style sets. Incredible work, and
I'll put
now I'm
this up
yearning for
on screen.
GWP. So thank you. Incredibly cool. I just loved that period of time where people were like making all the GWP characters like in that style. It was such a feel good moment.
Yeah, no, it was great. Everyone was just super happy and creative, and it was awesome. I'll go ahead and put that up. There we go. But no, it's
Shout
great.
out.
Okay.
And yes, Elder,
Oh no, there's just a handful of questions. I think we could get through pretty rapid fire.
go for it. You can read them all.
Okay. World of Cars Entertainment. LJ, how are your job hours? I remember last year they were all over the place. They have been all over the place for the last few years, but they have significantly like reduced in volatility. Like they've streamlined way better now. So doing a lot better on that front. Still working a bunch of extra hours, but that is my job. So I have rank where I work, so I have to do that, which is totally fine. I'm not complaining, but things are a lot better. Rennie the Space
That's
Guy
awesome.
asked, I have a question. You scheduled this stream days ahead as certain geopolitical events that won't be discussed explicitly. Did you develop a fear a world event would happen mid-printing discussion?
Dude.
I don't think we talked about it, but if it did happen, we would have probably just shuttered the stream at that point.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Because at that rate,
I'm,
there are more important things to focus on and be concerned about.
I agree. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
Let me see here. Also, again, this Migi, this looks outstanding. This is really beautiful. It's a great render. Let me see here. Nyx Omnihis asks, have you noticed that the Picari sticker in the Monkey Kid Megapolis City floorboards has blue eyes instead of green? And why do you think we haven't seen the rest of the Mata's masks? I do recall that being the case. Still looked pretty good. I have no idea, honestly. I don't know why we haven't seen any other like big Bionicle references, and maybe they're on their way, but it isn't something I'm too concerned about. You know, we see what we see when we see it, and if it happens, awesome, and if not, it's okay. We're not losing anything.
True.
And I think we should end with this one, Meso. Sir Lojan in the Patreon chat asks, do you think it's better for a series' long-term cultural memory to be left unfinished or to be finished? For example, Acceleracers series was left on a massive cliffhanger, and it still has fans and getting recognition to this day. Also, Toad Plastic mentioned the Picari eyes are teal, which that's a fine compromise, I think. It might just be a printing issue.
So I have no clue what Acceleracers series is.
Same.
But I think like something being finished, I think it does give it kind of like a mystique. The example I always think of is Samurai Jack. Like for years, the fact that that was unfinished and Jack was just like left wandering out there, never to complete his quest, gave it this like cultural mystique. And then they brought it back and ended it, and it lost like all of that mystique because then it has like an ending and it is divisive, and like you may or may not like that ending, and well, now it's just over, so nobody talks about it anymore. That being said, ask me personally, and I always would prefer a concrete ending. Like the fact that Bionicle G1 ended incomplete, technically speaking, really irks me still to this day. but I get the circumstances. It's complicated. There was a lot of nuance to it. I wish those new serials had not been started, because the fact that they were started and unfinished is like, I don't know. Every time I think about it, which is rare to be honest, but when I do, it bugs me. Because it had an ending, and then it went beyond it, and then it is now technically unfinished forever. But that's just me. What do you think?
Nah, I've come to terms with the G1 ending. G1 had an ending. G1 is finished. It's just there are stories that continued beyond its ending. And ultimately, they are canon, but they're optional to you as to whether or not you want to include them in your mind. I think that,
But LJ Lee was trapped by the boat of Magna Gory forever.
well, we know he got free of them. Like, we do know that. The greater issue is that Liwa cannot speak to literally any other character in the Matoran universe.
I forgot about that.
But no, I think when it comes to the ending of Bionicle, I see it as a complete ending. I see it as concluded. It's just, it does have stories that continue beyond that point. And I think there's a point that Greg Farshty made that I find interesting. There are still, the world continues despite us not seeing it. There are ongoing adventures, there are ongoing things, and maybe that's his rationale for them not ever getting done, and that's fine. But I look at Bionicle as having a completed story, and the world persists, despite us not having our eye on it. So, ultimately, though, I do prefer stories to have endings. I think that is the best way to go about it, ultimately.
Fair enough. And then, real quick before we end, there was one other question. Someone was like, Joker's Wild 8683. What are y'all's main story media you're consuming right now? One Piece, which is hype and about to end soon-ish, in like 5 years, I bet.
Yeah.
It's great. And Daredevil Born Again, which we're gonna go watch like basically right after we stop doing this. Which, I mean, if you're someone who's lapsed in Marvel, I get it. If you're someone who didn't like season one, I get it. Season two is much better. I would recommend coming back and checking out season two. So far, so good. That's all I'll say. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all. I'll leave you guys with more of like kind of an unrelated note rather than talk about the minifigure, but I do want to mention it, especially because we were just talking about the G1 stories and how they were like left unfinished. Greg Farshty has started a Patreon, and I would encourage you guys go check it out. He's posting a lot of stories over there. They are old stories from like before Lego. They're new stories that he's working on after Lego. He's even doing like a Bionicle parody story, which is kind of funny, called Bonkle 6 Zeros 1 Destiny. And like he just seems like he's having fun over there, and it's a good thing to do if you guys want to stay apprised with how Greg is doing nowadays, support him in his endeavors, continuing to write and be able to do what he loves in whatever capacity. Like he's offering a 7-day free trial, basically, which is how I, joined to start, where you can like not actually pay anything right off the bat and see everything that's up over there, and then decide if you want to support after that fact. So I just wanted to mention it because I saw it and was like, oh, it is actually Greg Farshty. He did post about it publicly. It's not like a scam or whatever. So yeah, I would heavily encourage you guys to go check it out and show some love to Greg.
No, 100%.
And that's basically all I got. Thank you guys very much for a fun time. We had some nitpicks, we had some discussions, but all in all, love the minifigure. Is it going to revitalize the world the same way the GWP did? Probably not. But it's still really cool. And I'm curious to see what, if anything, it means for the future. And it was really fun talking to all of you guys. Maybe we'll do a Knack and Jay soon-ish for '06, and I can yap about how good '06 is.
Sure.
That'll be fun.
And
How much
last
better it
minute
is than
delaying.
'07.
World of Cars Entertainment, $1.99. Delaying the stream. I miss doing that. Thank you, World of Cars.
You're a legend. Always very kind.
All right. I'm gonna
Thank
play
you
music.
guys for hanging out. Play the music. It's been fun. It's been real. I am Meso.
I'm LJ.
And streaming to you from a golden beach, this was Knack and Jay. Farewell, everybody.